on making an image of terrorists because it might incite violence. All right, good evening. It's 2100 on a Saturday night, and that means deep dive, baby. I've got Mario with us, and we're about to dig into
Lords.
two Iraqs and the Patriot Act. We're gonna ask the question: do we even deserve to be free if we would surrender our liberties for security?
Well, yeah, that's part of it, and that was a major sea change. Okay, like 9/11, 9/11 changed everything. Right, it changed everything in American culture. It changed everything for the United States military. Right, and it was a crisis. And as good old Rahm Emanuel likes to say, you never let a good crisis go to waste. Okay,
Right.
so the Patriot, what we're going to discover is that with following the events of 9/11. This was a perfect opportunity for the federal government to cram liberty-stifling legislation through Congress and get it penned by the president. All right, things that they had been holding on to for years, stuff that they had only dreamed of passing during the original wave, or not original wave. Who am I kidding? Not original, but during the events of the 1990s. Okay, in relation to the the siege at Ruby Ridge, the siege in Waco, Texas, all right, and the bombing of the Murray Federal Building in Oklahoma City, right? They had all kinds of liberty crushing legislation ready to go, but thankfully at the time, Newt Gingrich had a spine, and the Republicans basically prevented it. All right, but I don't want to get too much into I don't want to dive too much into the presentation.
Well,
so
let's do this, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to tell part of a story that I'm going to tell the rest of next week, but because this episode is going to serve as a bit of a primer for next week's episode, which will be a deep dive on 9/11 itself. Right. So this is we're going to talk about some of the events leading up to, and more of the focus is going to be on what happened after 9/11, the Patriot Act, all that stuff. But this, take this as a primer for 9/11. Expect to hear phrases like Mujahedin and references to Wag the Dog and Charlie Wilson's War, things like that. But 9/11 is one of those events, like the Kennedy assassination, the moon landing, etc. If you were alive when these things happened, you don't just remember where you were. You have like specific sight, sound, emotional, smell memories of where you were. So, Mario, where I happened to be in the records room in the basement of the Fulton County Courthouse when it happened. Right. This was at a time when a lot of business, especially legal business, I was doing title examination. I was deed dogging. Right. So this was before everything was digitized. I had a pager and a cell phone, and my pager would go off, and I would take a call. I'd write down details, social security numbers, names, addresses, etc. And then I'd do the research. Rod fucking Purvis was sitting. There you go.
Oh,
Rod Purvis was with me in the basement of the Fulton County Courthouse when this shit went down. So we were doing the slamology. We were pulling books off of shelves and making photocopies and writing reports and faxing shit off to lawyers, getting farm out work. When we heard on the radio that something was happening, weren't sure quite what. And a secretary from one of the law offices paged Rod. And Rod looked at me and said, "Planes don't hit the World Trade Tower by accident." And keep in mind, when Rod said this to me, only the first plane had struck. We dropped what we were doing, went to the little shopette in the courthouse and bought cups of coffee. Oh, Rod says it was DeKalb. Okay, that's right, because we went to that restaurant with I think the restaurant was called Michael's, it was Michael's or Michelangelo's. They had the pine nuts in the salad, and we had the steak. It was delicious. But we went downstairs and got cups of coffee.
I like how like memories from basically like 25 years ago. You're still the way your brain works. It focuses on the flavors. I remember the flavors.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember how the hallway smelled going into the little shopette to get cups of coffee, and we took them and we went out to my van because I was balling. I had a little TV. TV in my van, and we went out and we were sitting in my van drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes and watching the tiny little TV when the second plane hit the tower.
Yeah, chain smoking them cigarettes.
And I mean, like I said, when the first plane hit, when we got news that the first plane hit, Rod said that shit doesn't happen by accident. Planes don't just hit the towers. And then a second one hit, and we knew for sure, some shit's about to go down. This is about to change the entire world, all of society and culture and politics in perpetuity. Mm-hmm. Right? And so the first thing we did, as soon as the second plane hit, I started trying to call my dad because he was stationed at Fort Meade at the time.
Yep.
And couldn't get him on the phone. I was a little freaked out about that shit. But the very first thing we did is went to the nearest gas station, filled up the tank.
Can you imagine being active duty when that shit went down?
No shit.
That would have been a sobering moment.
Sergeant Major can imagine it.
Yeah. I remember a funny story.
He was at ground zero. He was at ground zero in one of those side by sides, Gator.
Yep.
The next day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was all hands on deck. Like basically, if you got personnel to spare, send them. Yeah. Remember there were like fire departments from as far away as Ohio, basically loading up.
Yep.
And basically riding out. Okay.
Yep.
So as for the active duty thing, it's not my story, but I do remember a warrant officer, okay, that I served with in Iraq. He was a funny guy. He was kind of an oddball, but most warrant officers are, okay. Anyway, he was in AIT, okay. He was in AIT, and they were like a couple weeks away from graduation, and so it's all these fresh fuzzy privates, okay, seeing it go down on TV, and they're just like, hey, drill sergeant, does this mean we're going to war? Drill sergeant. What do you think, private?
Well, boys, your marksmanship score suddenly matters.
Yep. So I myself, I was in now just so for the audience understands, so get the age that we were 20 years old, okay?
Yep.
When 9/11 happened. All right. So basically young adults, okay, just having crossed over that threshold, okay, into adulthood basically. So it definitely for us, it was like I knew as I saw the North Tower fall, I'm like, okay, well, everything is going to be different now. Yep. Everything from this moment forward changes, and this is probably going to be the defining moment. This could very well be the defining moment of my life. Okay. I was in Keene, New Hampshire. I was in college. I wasn't really serious about it, but you know what I mean? I loved the social. I love being a young adult, okay, being on my own, socializing, having a girlfriend, working jobs. I just liked being a townie. You know what I mean? I was a worker, always was. So I'm sitting in my apartment with my girlfriend, and we're watching something on TV, some dumb shit. And then I hear boom, 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 knock on the apartment door. I open it, and one of my friends is like, "Dude, a plane just crashed into the World Trade Center, man." I'm like, "What? What the fuck are you talking about, dude?" Go back, change the channel on the TV, and it's just like, oh shit! I see the North Tower. North Tower's in flames, and apparently a plane had just hit it. Right. Aaron Olson says it was nice of me to call you on Friday morning. Did I? I don't even remember. Anyway, so I don't remember that. Was I supposed to? Because I don't remember that either. Anyway, so yeah, I rushed to turn on the TV.
No. I'm sorry. That's right. No, what happened yesterday morning, Mario? I did the show solo yesterday morning, and you butt dialed Aaron Olson yesterday morning in the middle of the show.
I did?
Yeah.
Well, some bitch. Hey, man. Look, man, when my ass calls you, you answer. You understand me? All right.
Good morning.
Yeah, I've got an instrument. Okay, let me tell you what. All right, Chris knows. Anyway, so yeah,
I can do a whole episode just telling stories about Mario shitting himself at inappropriate times.
Like literal UCMJ action as a result of farting. Okay, it's kind of it's in retrospect, it's embarrassing. All right, so we'll just move on from that. So I turn on the TV and I see the North Tower's in flames, and my girlfriend is like, "What? Oh my gosh, what is going on?" And I'm like, and I say out loud, I'm like, "My God, this has got to be the worst aviation disaster. This is going to be the worst disaster in aviation history, right?" Because I thought that. I didn't think it was terrorism. I thought it was just like, holy shit, like somebody fucked up bad. And then as we're watching in real time, I see the second plane hit the South Tower. And that's when you could hear a pin drop in the room.
Yep.
And that's when everybody knew, like, oh, fuck, this is war. This is, as it was, it actually was, no hyperbole, it actually was kind of a Pearl Harbor too, okay? Even with similar body counts, okay? Now, how it happened, well, that's a story for next episode, okay? Tonight, we're going to talk about the events as far as the United States security state, okay? The information, the intelligence community, right? And the war that, an ill-advised war, and a war that, I mean, I kind of hate the fact that, I'm a veteran of like the dumbest war we ever did, fucking A. Anyway, but that's where it's. That's where we're going.
I mean, it could be worse, Mario. We could be Australians. I mean, remember the Aussies once declared war on the emu population.
Man, I'd kill the shit out of some emus. Okay.
Well, the Australians declared war on the emus and lost.
They thought that machine guns would be effective against emus. Okay, all it did was make them scatter, and like the bullets would just hit tufts of like feathers and shit. It wasn't even hitting the body. It just pissed them off. Look, you might not think birds are scary, but an emu, it's about the size of an ostrich. Okay, stand next to an ostrich and imagine what are you going to do if that thing's pissed off at you? Okay, it's basically it's a velociraptor not set on nightmare mode. All right, so normal difficulty setting velociraptor. Bad news. Okay.
Yeah. So, I hate to do this because Rod's watching tonight, but it is about that time. We're gonna have to kick off the freeloaders, and I appreciate you tuning in, Rod, but I need you to hop over. I can give you a couple minutes to try and hop over to Rumble, and I'll try to give you away a free membership tonight. But we're about to kick all the freeloaders off of YouTube and X and Facebook and everywhere else that they're watching outside of the paywall, and drag this conversation back behind the money barrier. So, if you're not already, go ahead and get over on Rumble and open your free account. You got to leave a comment in the chat to win a free giveaway membership. Here, I'll give one away so y'all see what that looks like. It's given away at random to somebody who has already made a comment in the chat. Aaron Olson just got a freebie. That's good stuff. Aaron deserves some love from us from time to time.
I think Aaron's paid out for the rest of the year. Like all the
I think so.
Like you're up there with a compressed air like t-shirt gun. You know what I mean, at the concert. And Rod's got he's got like this the swimming pool skimmer, like goink, goink, goink. Yep.
Yeah, buddy. And hey, Aaron Olson just gave one away, and David caught it. Hell yeah. Rod says, I missed the original format where we all talked and my chair squeaked too much. I fixed that chair, by the way. So, Mario, this was before when we first started the show. I'll tell this little bit of story, and then we'll do the kickoff. And so, Rod, you've got a couple of minutes to hop over on Rumble if you want to. When we first started doing the Brushfire Mind, it was an old Google Hangout, and we did it once a week for the first probably 6 months. And the idea back then was that we would do long form. We would live stream sometimes 4 or 5 hours, and like I said, there'd be 3, 4, 5, sometimes a half a dozen or more talking heads on the screen. We're just all buddies that used to hang out, and we would just talk. There wasn't any real format to it. We would just have conversations, and I mean, we'd talk about current events, news, politics, kind of the same concepts. And the idea was we would do the long talks, and then I would edit them down into smaller clips, and that's just kind of where we started. And then, little by little, some of the guys fell off, and then Cameron and I decided to go to try and tighten the show up and started doing something a little more like what you see now. But even then, it was still only once a month. And then Donald Trump came down the escalator, and Cameron said, "Fuck it, let's go daily." I said, "You're out of your damn mind. What do you mean daily? You mean every day?" Yeah, 7:30 in the morning, every day, right? And it's been so the Brushfire, the show itself has been going for 12 years. We've been daily for 10. And when I say daily for 10, I mean I have done this show every weekday morning at 7:30, with very few exceptions, for 10 years. The only times I've missed the show, I've overslept, I think, twice. Outside of that, there was recovery from surgery on 3 or 4 occasions. The odd power outage you can't do anything about. And last year, I took a couple of weeks off while I was moving into the new house and had to set up the new studio. And then I took a couple of weeks off when I got sick with pneumonia and was, bad sick in the hospital for a couple of weeks.
And
but outside of those, it's been every day at 7:30.
Yeah,
with or without Cameron.
For me, I've overslept once or twice
this week. And Be Controversial says, yeah, there have been periods through there that Rumble or YouTube just, there have been times that just one of them didn't work that morning.
Or you got banned.
Or we were banned for a month.
Banned. Hey.
Yeah, that has also happened.
That should be one of those. That should be like one of those Rumble premium creator, whatever the thing you're subscribed to, right? That should be one of those metrics. Like this month, 20 unique chats. Okay, X number of donos, whatever. This much exclusive. Get banned one time.
Get banned from another platform.
Yeah, get banned from another platform. There you
go. And speaking of which, and okay, the last thing, and then the bums have to leave. The other day we were doing the show, I grabbed a rifle off the rack and opened it up and took the firing bolt out, took the bolt carrier assembly out.
Yeah,
they didn't pull that off of YouTube apparently. So I guess they slacked off on that one.
That's right. Yeah, but so, the crackdown on them H-1Bs right now. Okay, they're just They're losing.
They don't have enough Indians to ban me.
That's right. That's right. They lost. They lost the Bajids who could actually identify weapons parts. Okay.
Oh, all right. Here we go, kids. I know you know, Mario.